imagine for a moment that anything was possible. Imagine, for example, that the laws of physics were suddenly replaced with the laws of the imagination. Well, that's a very interesting meditation, because it starts out, at least for me, I think, well, if I could have anything, what would I have? Or what would I like to have if I could have anything? So it begins modestly. I would somehow transfer the Vatican Library to Versailles, and I would live at Versailles and have access to the Vatican Library and all other books and works of art that have ever existed, and I would walk in a garden. But then I start thinking like this, and I say, no, but the question was, what would it be like if it could be anything? Why would you want Versailles? Why would you want the Vatican Library? If you could have anything. And you realize our imagination is completely constrained by the laws of physics. What would we become if we could become anything? I mean, if I could snap my fingers and you were omnipotent, what would you do? The first thing I would do is I would fly. I would just leap about 300,000 feet in the air and give the cowboy yell. But then you would realize, the entire universe is now your bubble. You can cross the galaxy in the wink of an eye. You can journey back to the Big Bang in the time it takes to think about it. There is no civilization in the history of the cosmos, no work of art, no ecstasy, no experience that is denied you. And I maintain that we would become, within minutes of this transformation, unrecognizable to ourselves, because we are completely defined by our limitations. And so that's what I imagine death is. It's the discovery that you can be, do, see, think, and feel anything.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself. Throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball. See? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea, then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
I remember one day I was in the movies. Movies has one fascination because I see the whole world as movies. I was in the booth and I saw the operator was reading a novel. And I saw this automatic machine was going on and the beam was causing on the screen a terrible horror picture. And I said, Lord, how is it? I have the whole show of the universe in front of me. You are this operator who is thinking of new plays, and your nature is throwing this beam in the sky. And I see the hero and the villain are nothing but pictures. Nobody is killed. Many were being killed and shot in this picture, but I saw from the booth it was the light that had created the villain, and the light had created the hero. And a voice said, remember, the villain is created so that you don't become the villain, but that you love the hero. If you become the villain, your throat has to be cut. And now you see that there is no villain, no hero. They are both pictures of my beam. After getting away from the villain and evil, or tasting poisoned honey, taste the honey of goodness and then come into the beam. And you will realize that all this world which you see of terrible wars and troubles is nothing but a picture show, cosmic motion picture show in the sky. You will be surprised. You never analyze that as soon as you sleep and dream, you can create a world like this, with people suffering from cancer and disease and wars and some smiling babies born, old men dying. Then when you wake up, you see that all those things were made of your dream consciousness. So remember, this is the same, nothing different. And until you find that out, this world is a terrible show. I said to God, as He was talking to me, but Lord, look at the audience. They are howling and screeching downstairs at this horror show. I see that it's nothing but pictures and light, because I see the invisible beam. There are no murders in the beam, no heroes nor villains in the beam. But Lord, what about the audience? They don't know it. Then the voice said, tell them all to look at my beam within, and they will realize that this show was given to entertain them, not to get mixed up with it. That's why, remember, every night He makes you a God. Every night He withdraws you from this movie, cosmic movies, and makes you realize you are the Son of God. You are made in His image. You cannot be violated or hurt by stones, nor bombs, nor machine guns, nor atomic bombs. Remember, the best shelter is in the silence of your soul. And if you can develop that silence, nothing in the world can touch you. And you can say, Jang labdha chaparang labham mannate nadikang tata, having which no other gain becomes greater. Then you can stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. Then you are not in any way touched by cold and heat, pleasure and pain. But as soon as you are touched by these, you are with the movies. So I realize this world with terrible wars and troubles. When I see the injustices, I cannot uphold the Father. But when I see that light dancing around me, this is the picture show, then I say, glory to the Father.
Suppose you are God. Suppose you have all time, all eternity, and all power at your disposal. What would you do? I believe you would say to yourself after a while, Man, get lost. It's like asking another question, which is supposing you were given the power to dream any dream you wanted to dream every night. Naturally, you could dream any span of time. You could dream 75 years of time in one night, 100 years of time in one night, 1,000 years of time in one night. And it could be anything you wanted. You make up your mind before you went to sleep, tonight I'm going to dream of so-and-so. Well, naturally, you would start out by fulfilling all your wishes. You would have all the pleasures you could imagine, the most marvelous meals, the most entrancing love affairs, the most romantic journeys. You could listen to music such as no mortal has heard and see landscapes beyond our wildest dreams. And for several nights, maybe for a whole month of nights, you would go on that way, having a wonderful time. But then after a while, you'd begin to think, well, I've seen quite a bit. Let's spice it up. Let's have a little adventure. And therefore, you would dream of yourself being threatened by all sorts of dangers. You would rescue princesses from dragons. You would perhaps engage in notable battles. You would be a hero. And then, as time went on, you would dare yourself to do more and more outrageous things. And at some point in the game, you would say, tonight, I am going to dream in such a way that I don't know that I'm dreaming. So that you would take the experience of the dream for complete reality. And what a shock when you woke up. And you really scare yourself. And then, on successive nights, you might dare yourself to experience the most extraordinary things just for the contrast when you woke up. You could, for example, dream yourself in situations of extreme poverty, disease, agony. You could, as it were, work on the vibration of suffering to its most intense point, and then suddenly, whoop, wake up and find it was after all nothing but a dream and everything perfectly okay. And you would say, wow, man, that was a gas. Well, how do you know that that's not what you're doing already? You, sitting there with all your problems, with all your whole complicated life situation, listening to me, it may just be the very dream you decided to get into. If you like it, crazy. If you don't like it, what fun it will be when you wake up.
The most highest, I believe it's the highest prayer. You have to cover your eyes. It's called the Shema Israel. And it says, God is one. Everything is one. In religions around the world, some religions talk specifically about that we are God's children. Okay. In other religions, we are an expression and an extension of the one universal God, or the one universal consciousness. Some religions use the word God, some use consciousness, some use other terms or words, Allah, etc. The way it works, not theory by the way, from actually experiencing it, the way it works cannot be described in words. It is ineffable. It is beyond the explanation of words. So I will use words to try to describe something to your mind that is beyond the mind. The challenge is the mind can never understand or comprehend what's beyond itself. Now think about that. Let's say that you are a native to an island in the South Pacific. And in this remote island in the South Pacific, Civilization, as we know it, has not come. You're still living in a hut made from grass. You have no factory, no pens, no paper, no cell phones. You have no mechanized anything. Everything is made by hand, like it was 5,000 years ago. So think about that. You have no TV, no radio. You've never seen anything. You've never seen a plane. You've never seen a mechanized boat or boat with an engine. You've never seen anything. Everything, you are living in the same way, with the same knowledge as your ancestors did 5,000 years ago. So think about that. And so now, somebody actually lands on your island. And it's an island that's in the South Pacific. It's warm. And the first thing the person says is, do you know what ice is? What's ice? Well, ice is cold. Do you know what cold is? What's cold? Do you know what snow is? What's snow? Well, ice is water that becomes hard like a stone. So it's water that becomes like a rock. You'd look at that person and you go, water becomes like a rock? It would be something you could not comprehend. No matter how I explain snow or ice to you, you couldn't comprehend it. And if I tried to explain a cell phone to you, you couldn't comprehend it. It would be beyond your level of understanding. Does that make sense? So I'm going to try to explain something which is beyond the comprehension of the mind. In the universe, there is no universe. The universe and everything in it is an illusion. It is what's called the world of duality, where we have matter, energy, space, and time. We have a this and a that, a here and a there. And you're saying, this is an illusion, Kevin. That's hard. That's real. Kevin, I'm not there. You're there. I'm here. This is an illusion. This is reality. It is real. I understand. That's what the mind can comprehend. But beyond this, there's energy. And beyond energy, there's a static. It's called consciousness, or the Atman, depending on the tradition you grew up in. And this static is one. And out of this oneness, which is pure benevolence, pure love, pure joy, pure bliss, pure consciousness, pure awareness, there is no duality. There is no good and right, or evil and good, and up and down, or north or south, or here or there. There's no time. There's no space. There's nothing. There's no judgment, because there's nothing to judge. There's only one. And out of this oneness emerged the many. And this is what the scriptural text for thousands of years said. Out of the one became the many. This is when the veil, you've heard sometimes the term, the veil started. The veil was the beginning of duality, and it was the illusion. Because the illusion is there's something here. Let me give you an example of what the illusion is. The illusion is you're sitting and you're watching a marionette play. Do you know what marionettes are? Marionettes are wooden figures, and they have strings attached to them. And you're watching the play, and there's two marionettes, this one and this one, and they're fighting each other with a sword. And you're watching this play, and one marionette kills the other one. Ah! That's the illusion. Because if you look up, you see the puppet master. The puppet master is actually controlling both puppets. What you just watched was an illusion. No one killed anyone. There was not one puppet and another puppet, because there was only one puppet master controlling both puppets. In oneness, there's one. Every single person is an expression and extension of the one. This is why in some traditions they use the word the self, and we are all the same self. This is the great mystery. This is the great illusion. This is the great, incomprehensible, secret of the world, secret of the universe, secret of everything, that there's one. And if someone were to say, Kevin, what should we do in life? Is there something? Every guru, every spiritual master who's enlightened means that they are aware. They have seen all. That's what enlightened means. They have light where there was darkness. And what enlightenment truly means, a self-perfected or self-realized master, the reason why it's called self-realization is they've realized the self, the oneness. That's all. And what happens is, when you as a spiritual being transcend the physical body and transcend the dimensions, transcend the spiritual realm, and you pierce or cross the veil. The veil is the separation between the illusional world of duality and reality, which is one. It's when you see the puppet master and you realize you are the puppet master and there's only one puppet master. And when you cross that veil and merge into the static or merge into the universal consciousness that is all things, the experience of bliss and joy is beyond comprehension. It's what, in the Christian Bible, it says, the love of God that surpasses all human comprehension will envelop you. And when you experience that, you experience a sense of connectedness, of oneness with every person, everything, every place, in a way that is ineffable. The joy is beyond comprehension. The bliss is beyond comprehension. And you know all. You have no questions. You are in a state of being, which is pure love. Gurus around the world, when asked, is there any secret you can tell me? They say, one, and love everyone without exception and without condition. That's the secret. There's one, and love everyone, including yourself, without exception and without condition.
What I perceived only a moment ago as myself and as the world are no longer there. So the bed disappears, myself disappears, there's no self in other, that is gone, and it disappears into this overwhelming white, infinite kind of light. If there's a way of describing it, I guess it would just be like the light of a star. Kind of like when you look up at the night sky and you see some very bright stars. It's like all of those lights magnified into this just kind of white screen of just infinity. And there's no you, there's no world, there's nothing that anything you ever identified as you is all gone within such a short amount of time. It spins your mind. So there's an unknown amount of time in this space, which is just infinite oneness with everything. Not even oneness with everything, because there are no other things. There's no you left. All that's left is this sort of knowing. There's a knowing beyond words that everything in the universe is all the same thing. It's not a thing, but it's all the same energy. It's all the same, it could be said, awareness. It is only that. It is all comes from this one source, and there's no separation between any of it. Anything beyond that is pure illusion, and that this is the actual natural state of things. It's very, very much a homely feeling. And so there's a certain amount of time, even though time and space doesn't exist in this place, there's a certain amount of time spent in there, which may as well be days. It passes by on the clock as maybe 10 minutes, but it may as well be days, weeks. It doesn't matter, because it doesn't have any, there's no reference points as to what time is at this point. You've literally become what people call God, Brahman, the Tao, It's the absolute ground of existence, and it's all known. All answers to all questions are all known without using concepts or words. It's all just immediately perceived. Every question is just dissolved. There's nothing left to be known. And then after that, once the ego, just any smidgen of an ego starts to come back online, that's where things get, for me, very interesting. To start with, there were fears that come up. Oh no, I'm lost in infinity forever. I don't even know what I am. And the ego is trying to kind of go, what's going on here? And just get a grip. It wants to grip and put it in a box that feels safe again. But now, after a few experiences of that happening, what tends to happen is the ego is asking questions and going, so was there ever anything to worry about? If this is my true state, what was there to worry about? And it's almost like a conversation with the universe, although it's not. There's not like two me and another being. It's just a conversation happening by itself with answers immediately thrown back from God knows where. And it's like, no, there was no others. There was no worries. There's nothing to worry about ever. You've never left home. This is your home. Everything is always perfect, full of bliss and full of love. As hippie as that sounds, that's kind of the truth that's revealed. And after that, laughter begins, and not just like a normal laugh, like oh, there's a joke told. It's like the biggest joke ever told, times infinity. And the laughter is like a stored up tension that has been released after eons of being trapped and condensed and twisted and believed in. And it's seen that you've just this whole time, all your worries, all thoughts of any kind of anything relating to worry, trying to impress people, worried about losing loved ones, about the state of the world, the state of other people, something someone might have said to you. It seemed that ultimately there is nothing to worry about whatsoever. Everything is the same thing. That it's all a play of form, and the form is you. It's such a relief that this self, I call it the cosmic self, is like undressing its clothes. It's like, I've been wearing these clothes for millions of years. Let's let loose some of these clothes, and every time you laugh, it's like a cosmic laughter, like God is laughing through you. And it's like a releasement of these clothes that it's been wearing. And it's like, oh, finally. And then there's another wave of laughter. It's just an unstoppable roll of laughter, because every thought that I think about is immediately resolved. Every single problem I've ever had, every polarity, duality, anything, any position I've ever taken is immediately resolved and seen as ultimately ridiculous. And I've been subject to the greatest joke of all time, which is, I am the joke. The whole thing is the joke. There's nothing to ever worry about. We've chosen to do this. And I just begin this wave of unstoppable laughter. And every time I laugh, there's like a releasement of some layer of being. And the being expands and expands and expands. And the more I laugh, the more it expands. Oh, finally, I can stop pretending now. It's so blissful that it's laughter that comes out, but the laughter is beyond laughter, any kind of laughter I've ever experienced. It literally brings tears to my face, and I end up completely exhausted because it's just almost too much. And it's like we've left ourselves a breadcrumb trail of bliss home, and the further down the trail you go, it's like the breadcrumbs become cakes and then bigger treats, and then it just gets better and better. The nearer home you get, the nearer the natural state you get, the more blissful and more full of humour and love and laughter it becomes. And the more nearer you get to this everyday waking life, which we classify ourselves as, a person in the world, the further away you get from that. But you never actually leave anywhere. You're always in that state. You just can't see it.
We can hide the gold with a mountain by putting a mountain on top of it, but still under the mountain it will be gold. So is our souls. The immortality and the purity of the soul cannot be covered by the mountain heaps of incarnations of bad karma. I want you to know that. Don't you ever call yourself a sinner or anybody else. That is the greatest sin. Just forget it, what you've done in the past, and don't do it again. Then you will again remember what you are. To remind people that they are immortal beings is the only truth. When you see a gas burner, the little light shooting over the gas burner, you see underneath, if you look underneath, you'll see one flame. Over there is little flames. But if you switch out the gas burners, all the little lights, tongues of flame become one light again and become extinguished. So are we. You are all little channels of God. The little light of God is shooting through you. So you are moving. When that light will go on, you will be cold meat. So you came from him and you go back home within him. It is that what sustains. That's unchangeable. That is unchangeable. So the thing is, if a perfect flame of God is thrown into the body, how can it go back? And when we have been given the free choice to do good and evil, that means we are responsible. We have been made responsible for our actions. We are not like the animal. The animal commits no sin. It commits no sexual sin, it commits no murder, nothing at all, because nature works with them. All the animals are immoral. They are murderers, murdering each other, eating each other, but they don't pay for their karma. But they have no freedom to get out unless the Lord frees them. Unless their souls are put into human bodies, they cannot be free. But we have free choice. When one sins, though it is one life, one thing is most outstanding when we observe human beings. The difference. Were we made different by God, just as the director gave different parts to the different actors? But remember, the director chooses people according to their talents. So God chooses people according to our talents, how we use our free choice. And according to that, our parts are given in this world. And yet, why is it there is inequalities in life? Certain moods, certain deficiencies of the mind, certain qualities keep pouring forth from unknown quarters. Now this man that killed the little girl, he said, I couldn't help it. I had to do it. Where does it come? Did God make him that way? Well, he must be a terrible God then. If he did just give that impulse to this man who killed the little girl. We have to look into the past. That our evil tendencies, violent evil tendencies, do not come as a result fixed by God in this life, but as a result of our bad habits of the past. There cannot be any other reason. Otherwise, absolutely it doesn't make sense why somebody is made sweet temper and somebody is like a hyena or like a tiger, ready to jump on you the minute you talk. Somebody is born with silver spoon in the mouth and somebody is struggling all the time and has no money. Somebody has indigestion and plenty of money. He can't eat enough, and somebody is hungry. He has better metabolism and can eat lots, but he has no money to buy food. This show has to be different. But these are the results of man's own doing. That sometimes, somewhere, we misuse our God-given freedom. Suppose you are born calm, and every day you become irritable, until you become so irritable that everybody shuns you. Every day's irritability makes you a full-fledged irritable person. So are those that are sick with anger, lust, desire. Those that are sex fiends, they should be put away somewhere. They should be allowed a chance to get well. So, if you have these terrible tendencies, remember, it was your own making from the past. You have to undo them, undo those evil habits. Otherwise, you are not fit to go to heaven.